Hello, today we're going to talk about how to use an expect script to log into a router. This is not just one router. The previous video on my channel speaks about how you can use an expect script to log into just one router IP address. In this example, we are going a bit further. So we have a file which contains a list of IP addresses that I want my script to connect to and get some outputs from that particular router. In this case, the routers that I'm using for testing are Juniper. But just to quickly walk through the script, this is the script name. I've called it E55 just for reference. So the usual path where expect script is and the usual defaults that we have, just as mentioned on the previous video. The interesting bits here are, now here is where I open up a file called DIP, which has got a list of IP addresses of the devices that I would like my script to connect and get the command outputs. So I am just trying to parse that and open that value, and I read that each individual IP address is read and loaded. So that is what I'm doing. So once I split and read that information, so this is just opening up the file DIP, splitting it and reading each line, and then I close it. After that, the script is prompting for a username. So puts no new line. What it indicates is it's going to just pop up and say enter your username. And no new line only means that as soon as you enter the username, the script does not defaultly go to the next line. Then the flush stdout is pretty much to avoid delays in displaying this output. And finally, we get that information and store it in the username variable. Same way, I do it for the password and I store it on the variable. Now for each IP in IP list, because I have parsed or read the IPs and I've kept it in this variable, for each of them with an increment value of 1, I'm starting to establish a session. Now the timeout value, the username and passwords, these have been commented out because all those information is already pre-populated before the for loop started. Of course, if you don't want these things to be there, you may explicitly give your usernames if you prefer that, and you can uncomment it. Now, as you can see, I'm spawning an SSH with the username that is already stored here. And once it expects the password prompt, you can just return the password that is stored in this variable. Yeah. The key part here is I have also uncommented a few other lines, expect question mark and send yes. This is when sometimes when you SSH, you may notice that you may get an interactive response asking, do you want to proceed with the session? And if you say yes, only then it happens. In my case, the keys are already exchanged, so I don't get these things. So that's why it's uncommented. If you have it, you can just uncomment them and use it. Eventually, I log into the router, and then I run these command. I collect the outputs, and after I collect it, I just put a friendly display to tell me that I've collected this outputs from this router with its IP address. So let's try to run this script and check what happens. So as you can see, it's asking me for the username, the password. So first it connected to the first router, it ran the command, it said done collecting the outputs from this router. Then it connected to the next router and it's given that it's collected that output as well. So this is a pretty simple script that can be enhanced with more commands if you want. And you see the script has logged out of the box. I will also display the IP addresses that I have. So the file which contains the IP addresses to which I am logging in. Hope this is useful. Bye for now.